Good evening. This is the Southern Network for Modern Television with 7 o'clock news bulletin. First, the headlines. The indirect effects of the Chapala cyclone continues with a decrease in wind speed around its center and it heads towards the west. And the bodies concerned in the governorates of Dhofar and Al-Wusta stress on their preparedness to deal with the tropical cyclone as citizens praise their efforts. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The latest satellite images indicated the tropical cyclone Chapala is currently centered west of Arabian Sea at an altitude 13.27 north and longitude 54.43 east. The latest monitoring indicated that the surface winds around its center between 85 and 95 knots, 153 to 171 kilometers per hour. And it is currently 400 kilometers away from the coasts of the governorate of Dhofar, with chances of decreasing a tropical storm of the Category 1 during the next 12 hours. The Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center analysis reveals that Chapala is moving west and its center may cross to Yemen in the area situated between Governorate of Hadramaut and Shabwa during the next 86 hours. The effect of the tropical condition in the Governorate of Dhofar will continue in pouring more thunders, heavy rains and active to strong winds, as the sea will have 5 to 7 meters wave height. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation urges citizens and residents to be extra cautious in the governorate of Dhofar while the rains is falling and the wadis are flowing. It also calls on seagoers to the necessity of following weather warnings issued by the authority on the development of the tropical condition. With the start of indirect effect of Chapala cyclone, a number of wilayas of the governorate of Dhofar witnessed various intensity rains beside high sea waves. These pictures of heavy rains fell in the wilaya of Salala of the governorate of Dhofar. And the wilaya of Sada has recorded large quantity of rains during previous hours as well as active wind. And in the wilaya of Rakhiut also had some rainfalls as indirect effect of the weather condition Chapala. And in the wilaya of Dalqut also received some rains as the weather condition also covered the wilaya, causing some rain as well as active to light winds. The Wilaya of Mirbat witnessed a flow of clouds accumulations and active winds and high sea waves. Light rains also fell in the Niaba of Tawi Atir. An emergency plan was made in Mirbat Hospital, as well as the readiness of nursing staff for attending shifts in urgent cases. Fishing boats were also removed from the sea. The Wilaya of Taqa also received various intensity rains. In an indirect effect of Chapala weather condition, also wave became high, accompanied with gusty wind. An ambulance advance positions were determined today in the Wilaya of Salalah by Civil Defense after it completed all preparedness in various wilayas of the Governorate of the Far. The distribution of these points came with the aim to deal with an emergency circumstances may occur as a result of effect of the rain generated by Chapala cyclone. Citizens and residents in the Governorate of the Far took precautions to face the tropical storm Chapala. The authorities concerned also completed their preparations in the shelter places that began receiving large number of people from different nationalities. The citizens ensured their basic needs. The petrol stations ensured sufficient quantities of fuel. Markets and shops also provided basic food stuff under the observation of the consumer protection to prevent exploiting people in this situation. A number of Asian expatriates living in unsafe areas in the Wilaya of Salalah were moved to the shelters prepared by the bodies concerned for their safety. A number of ships of the Royal Navy of Oman RNO sailed from Saeed bin Sultan Naval Base today, heading to the governorates of the Far and Al-Wusta to provide support in dealing with the adverse climate condition Chapala cyclone being witnessed by the Sultanate within the framework of the efforts being exerted by the RNO with the other units of the Sultan's Armed Forces, SAF, and government agencies. The Minister of Defense and SAF have mobilized all potentials with other government agencies within the framework of the necessary preparation to deal with the tropical cyclone. All the bodies concerned in the Wilaya of Duqm in the Governorate of Al-Wusta are prepared to deal with the tropical cyclone Chapala. The preparations included providing specialized equipment in search and rescue operations, as well as making the evacuation centers nearly 60 to receive the citizens and residents. The Royal Oman Police, along with the concerned bodies, are also prepared to provide support operations in the Wilaya of Duqm. The Ministry of Health prepared emergency rooms in both the Far Governorate and Al-Wusta to provide technical and logistic support to the health institutions that might be affected by the tropical condition. These came within the procedures of the ministry represented in medical response and public health sector to monitor the tropical cyclone Chapala. Royal Guard of Oman, RGO, held a ceremony to mark its annual day coinciding with the 1st of November each year and to celebrate the graduation of a new batch of recruits. The ceremony took place at the ground of RGO Command. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al-Nu'mani, Minister of Royal Office, presided over the event. The new recruits performed a number of skills and military shows accompanied by music band of RGO, showcasing efficiency in the military training programs they underwent. The chief guest then presented certificates and appreciation awards to the toppers and pinned medals of special service to a number of affiliates of RGO. After that, the new recruits chanted the RGO anthem and cheered thrice, proclaiming allegiance and loyalty to His Majesty the Sultan, Supreme Commander of Armed Forces. Finally, the free fall jump team also presented a number of acts in skies at the ceremony field. A mega trip at world level and for the second time in documented history for crossing empty quarter desert by 3 voyagers will start from Salalah city on the 10th of December and for 2 months. This was revealed by His Excellency Badr bin Hamad bin Hamoud Al Busaid, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a press conference. The journey came with the royal blessing of His Majesty the Sultan within the country's celebration of the glorious 45th National Day. The flag-off ceremony will be presided over by His Highness Sayyid Haytham bin Tariq Al Said. This voyage came to prove the ability of Omani youths in handling difficulties to achieve the goals of supporting brotherly relations among the Sultanate, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, in addition to the friendly relations with the United Kingdom. With the total value of more than 88,000 Omani Riyals, the Minister of Manpower signed an agreement with Oman Liquefied Natural Gas Company Oman LNG to develop digital operation systems in vocational training center in Ivory. The agreement will meet labor market demands and work to find high-quality outcomes for private sector to be armed by information and experts that will be able to deal with various modern devices. The agreement was signed by Her Excellency Dr. Muna bint Salim Al Jordania and the Secretary of the Ministry of Manpower for Technical Education and Vocational Training. In Italy, the activities of Expo Milano 2015 concluded among a wide attendance from representatives of the participating pavilions. The conclusion ceremony witnessed the attendance of President Sergio Mattarella of Italy. The Sultanate's participation in the Expo came to enhance the relations between both countries, in addition to acquaint the Italian community with the culture and heritage of the Sultanate. Its pavilion in the Expo Milano achieved great success, where the visitors exceeded 5 million. This is the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The indirect effects of the Chapala cyclone continues with a decrease in wind speed around its center, and it heads towards the west. The bodies concerned in the governorate of Dhofar and Al-Wusta stress on their preparedness to deal with the tropical cyclone as citizens praise the efforts. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From the entire news team, led by Abdullah Al-Amri and Salim Al-Ma'wali, we thank you for joining us.